Hi, my name is Keenan Hardert. I'm a professor at Minnesota State University, Mankato. I primarily work in cancer research and bioeducation research. And today, what we're going to be performing is a Cox proportional hazards regression survival analysis. This is a key test. It's a very advanced survival analysis that is going to allow you to generate survival estimates, look at categorical data, most importantly, and that's going to allow your survival curves to take on a new exploratory hypothesis generating role. So if we look at the education data that I've got here, I have all of my subjects up here. What I have is a time in days and an event, a 1 or 0, and a 1 meaning that there was a failure event of some kind in the class. That can be if you get below 70% on any sort of assignment, anything. So the key with most regular survival data, and we've done videos to cover those with like log rank, Cox some of the other tests, some of the standard stuff, is that typically you will just have the 0 and 1 setup right here that you have, and you can divide them into different populations. As you can tell, we are actually in multiple variables, that section of Prism, that offering. What I had to do is say, in my case, to say an event versus a non-event, I had to make sure that this was categorical, not continuous for number. The same is going to happen for now. I'm going to take a bunch of variables about my students and say, here are all the stats about everyone. In this case, are they retaking the class? Did they attend more than 90%? That counts as a high. How many hours did they work per week? And low is less than 20 hours. Are they first gen or not? Did they work overnights? And did they come to 4 or more review sessions or office hours of some sort? So low versus high on that. The neat thing with how this is going to work is that we're going to be able to explore which one of these categories is significantly affecting our survival time and thus our failure rate. So this is a very cool advanced way to take survival data and actually make it kind of exploratory. And it will still be we can still make then after this a typical survival curve. But let's go ahead and go over here. So if I say analyze, and I'm going to say Cox proportional hazards regression, I want to include everybody. Notably, make sure that your time and event are in A and B right here so that it auto recognizes that. You're going to come to this screen right here. First thing I want to say is that for an event, I want this to say 1. That's what I had designated as that was a failure event of some sort. Then 0, we're going to say censored. They're still going. So we won't get to two-way interactions right now. So what we're doing with main effects is saying I have columns of data, as I already showed you, retaker, attendance, do they work, all this. I'm just going to measure those variables as single variables against survival. Perfect. If I wanted to do two-way interactions, look what I add. Now we're going to say the combination of either one of those factors, how do those interact? I'm going to just keep this at main effects for now. If I have enough time in the video, I will try to do a two-way interaction. So next, you have some customization right here. What I want to do is make a reference level to I'm going to call all the baseline levels, all the happy levels, basically, right here. So if you're a retaker, the reference level, you're not a retaker. That's the typical. Do you attend and you're a high attender? That's typical. Do you work? Low workers are typical. First gen, no, typical. Overnights, no is typical. And then reviews, I actually want to say, I want to switch that up and I want to get that to, I assume that I want this to be, here's the high reviewers. I'm going to assume that that's typical. So I've got that set. Technically, I could leave this as either or, and it will spit out the opposite as what we're going to test. But in this case, I want to keep that kind of calm there. So all set. Predictions, compares fine. Right here in options, what I really want to do is add a p-value because this is going to give me how significant each variable is influencing that survival. I want this right here. I also want a covariance matrix. We'll see in a sec how this is going to be incredibly important and a great way to do sort of a comparing each variable and how much it influences each other before we even do the multi. So goodness of fit and residuals, you have some other options here. But again, I'm just going to run this as is. So first set of tab results in here. I want you to scroll down to here. Right here with this z value and these p-values that we ordered up right here, we've got a great setup already. These are going to be p-values that are multiple hypothesis generated. So they are corrected for the fact that we did this many tests right here. And up here these, we do have 95% confidence intervals, the variable, the hazard ratios themselves with an included 95% confidence. But right here, what this is showing me and this is wonderful right here. If you are a low attender, you are highly significantly associated with poor survival right here. Look at that high Z right there. The way I set this up is that a higher number is going to mean a bad thing. If you work high hours, you are set up significantly to not do super well in this survival curve. You can see overnights right here. It is associated with that bad side of things, but we do not actually see that significant relationship. Equally, we see retakers actually went the opposite. They had a lower Z value on that proportion. And so we see that, again, nothing that we're looking bad on that. So parameter covariance, this is the graph that I wanted to show off right here. So for each one of these beta values, these are our values that you just saw. We have a wonderful correlation matrix right here that shows us exactly which factors are influencing the others. Notably, it will begin with just these values right here. So if you want to go to your resources right here and your results, go to the parameter covariance tab that we ordered up right here. This is actually gonna, I think this, yeah, I gotta move this little guy right here quick. Sorry. This little guy right here will actually just label it for you automatically. So now what I can do is say, ooh, that's a pretty big, significant correlation right here with beta 6. So if you don't go to the reviews, beta 2, you're a low attender too. And then beta 3, you're a worker too. Dang it. So what this is telling me is like, if you work high hours or you attend very little, you're also probably not going to attend any of the reviews either. So this is a really nice way to set up and explore your data that starts out really heavy with categories, but you're going to be able to analyze and go really advanced here. So this is a great feature for exploring data, but also really showing significance for specific categories that, your paper, your project is more interested in that case. So thank you for joining us today.